Good day, everybody. Rob Mazak here, psychic medium, but here to talk a little bit metaphysically, but a little bit logically all at the same time. And what I do want to talk about is time. And what brought me to this subject was something I noticed in my hotel room or room at a hunting lodge that I'm staying at while I'm deployed to some border operations. Anyway, going to sleep at night, I noticed one night that there are 4 different clocks that are illuminated in my room at night. One I did on purpose. I brought my own alarm clock so I could see what time it is. Because us old guys, we have to get up and use the little boy's room a lot. Fun times, right? And so it's always nice to know what time it is. Oh, I got a couple more hours of sleep, whatever. And then there's a clock on the microwave. There's a clock on the stove. And there's a clock on my coffee maker, which I brought. All of them or 3 of the 4 are glowing in bright green, and the one that I brought with me is very bright red. And when I first got into the room, I set every one of those clock sources to the exact same time. And along with noticing that all these clocks were lit up at night, they were all at different heights, different distances from me. And they were also all managed to be 2 to 3 minutes or more different from each other. And it really got me to thinking about time. And I heard somebody say something about time the other day that just really kind of struck me as very true. They said, people think they understand time until you ask them to define it. So what is time actually? Well, as we know it, we have decided, figured out, however you want to go with that there is 24 hours in each of our Earth days. And we could debate all day long about flat Earth, globe Earth, matrix, all that, regardless. But we do have, it seems, a 24-hour period of time for each day of life. And so we have conveniently carved up all of those hours into minutes and seconds, and we seem to only be going forward in time. That could go back to what most people will consider our beginnings, the Big Bang, where everything is moving outward. Could be true, could not be true, who knows. However, it seems like we are living the movie, if you will, of our life only in forward motion. And we base everything, absolutely everything, off of time as we know it. So we have to work a certain amount of hours each day. Most people 8 hours. Some of us longer, right? We sleep ideally 8 hours a day. We have to make sure that we're at appointments at a certain time. If you make an appointment with your doctor or your hairstylist or your trainer, they expect you to be there when you've decided or worked out an agreement for the time that you needed to be there. And so we live from moment to moment on this, as I would call it, fabricated definition of time. Now, I guess our perception of our day, our 24 hours, is about as accurate as our perception is going to give us. So I'm not saying there's not 24 hours in a day and that we're not spinning around the sun and on and on and on. We might be. We're not here to talk about that. But how would you define time if you were forced to define it? I think I'd be hard pressed to actually put a definition in my own words. And I've been kind of struggling with that, trying to think of how I'd do it, and I really can't solidly come up with something. Because to describe time, you almost have to use the word time. So I'm not really sure how you would define it. But anyway, time is an interesting thing. And time and space and all those kind of things are in a lot of equations and, things that Einstein worked out and all that kind of stuff. And time seems to be a very big part of what we would consider reality, or what we can perceive as reality. Gravity, throw that in there, and all kind of different things, right? Speed of light. But time seems to be what we measure everything off of, right? How fast our car goes, how much we get paid each hour depends on how much time we put in, right? But the funny thing is that nobody is printing more time. We all have the same amount of time every day, same block of. See, I can't even define time without saying time. It's kind of odd, but we all have the same amount of time each day, and everybody seems to use that differently, right? And me personally, I am, I guess I grew up in the olden times. I like being on time. I like to use my time wisely. I like to fit as much as I can in the time that I have to fit it in, right? I don't like to waste my time. And don't get me wrong, I do sometimes. We all get lazy. We all get to that point where we need to. But I also want to come back to the clock sources in my room. I could not help but be drawn to the dynamic and the new idea of quantum fields and parallel universes and other dimensions and things like that seem to surround us. And we're just simply tuned to one particular reality where there might be lots of them running parallel to us or around us or between us and all that stuff, right? And who knows if that's true, but I really do think it is. I've personally had some interesting dynamics with time, experiences with time that just didn't make any sense. And time really does come down to perception if you think about it, right? Because if you're kissing your favorite gal or your favorite guy, a minute could an hour could feel like a minute. But if you're doing a task that you absolutely cannot stand doing, a minute could feel like an hour. So it's really interesting how we construct our perception of time. So is time really the same for everybody? I think it comes down to how we perceive it, how we feel about it. Are we having fun? Are we not having fun? Right? Anyway, back to the quantum, right? In the parallel universes and different things like that. And so the fact that each of these clocks that I have are at different distances from me, different times, different heights, different levels, if you will, different brightness, it kind of brought me to that dynamic or that paradigm about the possibility that time might be in many different factions, many different pathways, dimensions, universes, right? And it almost kind of solidified for me that time is all around me and in different ways or different fashions. And almost like all I have to do is simply change my perception or tune into something different to experience something else, right? If I wanted to go back in time, I could look at the clock that is behind all the others. And in reality, am I not in the past because I'm experiencing a time that may not be accurate, that's actually behind all the other clocks? And so it goes with the future. What if I engage with one of the clocks that is ahead of all the rest of them? Am I in the future? Right? And so, I don't know. It really makes you scratch your head if you think about it. What is time actually? As you can see, I'm struggling to figure out how to define time without putting time in the definition. So, how would you define it, right? But let's just get back to what we perceive as normal, right? However we got here, we are moving through the time period of each day, right? Each hour, each minute, each year, and on until we're maybe 75 or so, normal lifespan, right? And we're going from zero birth to old age, and we go on to the beyond, right? To whatever is after death. We all hope there's something after death, right? And so it really comes down to, what do we do with this time? Are we going to just exist to eat, work, consume, and die, or are we going to do something with it? If all we have is these 75 years or so, and we have one shot, one opportunity, then what are we doing with this time? We might as well take advantage of the paradigm that we live in and use it to our advantage, right? What I'm trying to say is many people are not living up to their potential, and they're getting engaged in all the activities that are meant to distract us. The biggest one is the television, for example, football games, sitcoms, shows, movies, on and on, right? The news, oh my gosh, the news is just encapsulating people with all the crazy things that are going on, right? And not only are we doing that, but we're doing that in the time that we really have available to do something more with our life. Because let's just do simple math. If we are working 8 hours a day, right? And let's just say to get up and get ready, to get to work, and to get home at an hour on each end, that's 10 hours, right? If we're supposed to sleep 8 hours a day, that leaves us 8. Now we still got to eat. We still got to watch the kids. We still got to take care of the family. We still got to do lots of different errands, right? And then what do? We fill the extra time with stuff that does not serve us to move forward in this life, to actually pursue goals. Because the only time we really have allocated to us, if we want to survive in this world, have a job, to have a house, cars, raise a family, do all the things we want to do, right? We have to do more. We can't just complain and sit on the couch and watch other people make millions of dollars on the TV while we're complaining. It's not how it works, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying TV is evil. I'm just saying I think we have to make better use of our time, because we really only have so much of it based on what we know. I think there's much more beyond this reality. We'll come back around to that. But the point being is, if we can manipulate time, with our perception. Why aren't we? Why aren't we using it and stretching it out and making the most of it? Right? Because let's face it, right? The billionaire and the homeless person on the corner all have the same amount of time each day, right? 24 hours a day. That is the absolute one thing that every being on this planet, or whatever this is, has in common. Everybody has the same amount of time. We may not all be white or black, right? Or Asian or whatever ethnicity, on and on. But everybody has the same amount of time, whatever that definition is, right? So let's take, let's take the time to maximize our time. You see, you can't define time without using time, isn't it? That's just crazy. You know, I thought it was going to be easier to define it, but I guess it's not, right? But time, I think, is really only at least a forward progression of time, as if we're playing a CD or a movie, and there's no rewind button per se. You know, that's what our perception is. We're moving from 0 to 75, just like we talked about, or longer, right? And it doesn't seem like we could manipulate it backwards or any other way, although some people would like to say you can. But in some ways you can, because you have memories of the past. So if you spend time in your memories, are you really living in the past? Maybe. Not physically, obviously, but mentally. So anyway, I wanted to kind of delve off into a little tangent. And so one of the services that I offer is hypnosis, right? Which is the hypnosis practice that Dolores Cannon formulated, I guess, over time, or pioneered. There's a good word. And either way, however you use hypnosis, right? But one of the things that I find interesting is part of that process is past life regression portion as we start out, right? And even sometimes when we get into the hypnotic state. But periodically, people don't go to like a normal past life, if you can consider past lives normal, you know, like a looking at another human life that they may have lived, or maybe they have a memory of, whatever. Sometimes they find themselves in what I would call the spiritual world as simply a being, you know, just existing as an energy, if you will. And when the first time one of my clients ever landed there, I kind of struggled, because in a normal, looking at a past life in a normal dynamic, if you will, it's easy to kind of move them forward or backward in that life, to kind of look at things and have experiences and learn some things, whatever. Because that makes sense, because we're used to this dynamic, you know, only moving forward. But when somebody lands in what I would call the spiritual world, you can call it whatever you want, there is no time. Everything, they all say the same thing every time they land there. And I've been there in some of my meditation journeys, and it's kind of odd, I guess, because we're not used to that. But everything happens, here we go, got to use the word, everything happens at the same time. Past, present, and future are all concurrently happening at the same time. So you can understand my struggle when I first had somebody go there. I'm like, how do you move somebody forward and backwards in a life if there is no time or no experience of time? And it's kind of really hard to imagine, isn't it? That everything that ever could be is happening all at the same moment. But you know, after the first time that happened to me, it's happened many, many, many more times. And so now I kind of have a better feel of how to move them around, if you will. But so I'm not offering this as proof. What I'm saying is that my experiences through myself, my own journeys, and others that I help journey there, time is not really, doesn't necessarily exist outside of our reality or what we think is reality. So what the heck is time? How can we take advantage of it, right? How can we use it better? I think what we have to do is, since we don't live in the spiritual world currently or in that type of environment where time doesn't matter, we have to figure out the best way to utilize it. If our Creator, wherever you believe that is, put us here and gave us this paradigm, there must be a reason, right? Because if time doesn't exist outside of this, then what is the purpose of goals? What is the purpose of learning? Because you're always going to be. You're never going to go away. So what's the point, right? I heard somebody say in a motivational speech the other day that we're the lucky ones. We get to die because can you imagine when we get to a place like that? Not that emotions are attached to it, but what would be the purpose of pushing ourselves? What would be the purpose of learning lessons? What would be the purpose of doing anything other than, I can't even think of anything that you could possibly push yourself to do other than kind of learn about who you are in complete silence, if you will, without distractions. I guess that would be kind of cool. But I think you get my point, right? I think the purpose of us being here in this human form and in this reality, moving forward from 0 to 75, is to learn how to master ourselves, learn how we can push ourselves. Because I think within pushing for goals, it's not the goal that's the important thing. That's not the important thing. It's the struggles and the tough times and all that create a greater human being. I mean, if you think about diamonds are put under tremendous pressure and heat and time and but the funny thing is, once you take that average lump of coal and you turn it into a diamond through all them struggles and pain, right? They become very, very valuable. And you can't do much to a diamond once it's formed, right? And so I think that is really what time is all about. Time is not here for us to wear a watch and measure it. It is to figure out how we can manage to grow and exceed in this human form and become something more than we came here as, right? We start as a baby, don't know anything, and we evolve and we move forward. Many of us live to be 75 but die when we're 25. We don't do anything except go to work, party, watch TV, whatever, right? Drink beer with your friends. Come on, guys, there's a lot more in life that you can be doing. Let's just face it, our life is measured. Maybe that's a better way to describe time. It's a measurement. It's all we're doing is measuring our span of our time to learn lessons, to become what our Creator put us here to become. The sad part, or the hard part, is that we don't know what that's supposed to be. We don't get to know. We don't get to remember. We don't get to have that knowledge as we come in here. But if you think about it, a test would not be a test if you knew the answers before you took the test. The idea is we have to study, we have to learn, we have to grow. Let us use our measurement of our life. Use the time appropriately. And let's get busy being everything we can possibly be. Right? I believe that we go on from here. In my experience through clients and myself, I truly believe that. But what if this is the only time? What if this is all we have? This is our one shot. That's it. Game over. And all we did was eat, work, sleep, consume, die. Come on now. Let's do more than that, people. Let's leave a mark, if you will, is what most people would say, right? But not so much to be known, but to learn to grow, evolve, become a mighty human being, and in the process help others do the same. All right, I will go ahead and spin down on this, but you get my point. You know, time is valuable. It is the most valuable thing we have. They don't print it like they do money, right? We can't get it back. Once time is gone in our dynamic, it's not coming back. So let's make the best of what we have. Let's move forward and become all we can be. I will see you again. Stop by and visit me. www.lifebymazak.com. LIFEBYMAZAK.com. Talk to you soon.